welcome. I'm Kristin Schoenstein. I'm the Executive Director for the Next Gen Customer Experience Event Series. Welcome to our first Google Hangout. And the purpose of these Hangouts is to talk about some of the research that we've been doing over the past few months with the industry, and also talk about some of the issues and challenges and topics that we're going to be addressing at our 2015 event, which is March 23rd through the 25th at the Omni in San Diego. So we're really excited for the event. We're gearing up right now. But before you all join us in San Diego, we are going to talk about some of the research that we've been doing. So we put together a director's report based on some of our findings, and it includes some industry drivers that we've identified. And so we're going to look into that a little bit. And I'd like to introduce Mike Wittenstein. Mike's been working with us on this event for a couple years, and he is the CEO and founder of Storyminers, which is a customer experience consultancy. So Mike, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk a little bit about your background and some of the changes that you've seen in customer experience over your many years of working in this space.
Sure. Thanks, Kristin. It's great to be a part of Next Gen again. My first exposure to customer experience was way back before Y2K in 1999 when I was working with IBM as their key visionary. There, in a thought leadership marketing position, my job was to articulate and introduce IBM's strategy to some of its blue chip clients. We worked with McDonald's on a wireless drive-through, with Wingate Inns on a deskless check-in solution, with Partnership for Drug-Free America, Best Buy, and a bunch of other brands. And what I found so cool about customer experience back then was that it was the one methodology or offering, one way of working that touched all the different parts of the business in a way that they could understand and they could get on the same page. And what's needed today in customer experience is exactly the same thing. Customers' needs are changing so much, their preferences are all over the place. Technology is enabling all different kinds of connections. Customers' expectations are growing very rapidly, and all parts of an organization need to respond as one. Customer experience is a way to create that universal requirements document so that everyone can be on the same page. So it's just like 1999 again, Kristin.
Great. So just to kind of get into some of the areas that we developed, would love to kind of get your thoughts on them. And one of the first kind of drivers that we identified was that customers are now all omni-channel customers. Are you kind of seeing that in your with your clients and in the work that you're doing?
Absolutely. I do a lot of work in retail. And by the way, I love the way you phrased the question. You said a lot of the customers are omni-channel. Mm-hmm. Nothing's changed. We've always been omni-channel customers, right?
Right.
When you're out shopping, you're like shopping for everything you need. You don't really go shopping anymore. You're always shopping 24/7. You're online, you're on your phone, you're at the store, you buy a gift card at a grocery store for a department store. It's like the walls of the store don't even matter anymore. So this idea of omnichannel is really challenging for retailers and for other businesses, because now with all this technology, which is never more than an arm's width away from us, but we're not ever more than 3 feet away from being inside of a cool technology network or next to a device that can connect us with the world. There are minutes a day when we're not really connected. Think about that.
Right.
So customers are expecting to be able to do whatever they want, whenever they want. And that's not the way businesses were organized. They were organized on the old Henry Ford, and the cotton gin, the mass marketing, the mass production mentality of do a lot of the same thing at one time in one place and then distribute it. So the 4 Ps of marketing are all but dead, if you will. And it's challenging for these companies to figure out how to handle customer experience. I want to share one thought with you, and then I'll give you the mic back. So often, companies think they need to get customers to do things a certain way. They try to modify their behavior so that they'll fit their business model better. But the leading edge of customer experience right now isn't so much on the customer side, it's on the company side, trying to get the companies to do the right things for their own customers. That's the leading edge and where most of the opportunity lies today. Did you find that in the research too?
I missed that last part you said about companies.
Oh, the challenge in customer experience now isn't so much about understanding the customer. We know how to do that. We know how to create better customer experiences. The hard part now is on the delivery side. It's getting all the different parts of the company coordinated to deliver a single, useful, memorable, valuable experience for the customers. Because at the end of the day, that's what they want.
Right. I mean, that's a huge challenge because a lot of the organizations are still operating in silos, and you're trying really hard to work together across functions, but it's definitely a challenge. And so now that they're becoming more coordinated with their marketing efforts and with the way that they speak to the customer, it's becoming a better experience, but it's definitely still a work in progress, and we're hearing a lot of challenges on that front.
Yeah, so at NextGen, I understand you have some very cool speakers to open things up and some very cool roundtables and workshops to address that and some other hot topics.
Definitely. We're really excited for the 2015 program. I have the largest speaker faculty that we've ever had, and really excited about some of the companies that are going to be sharing case studies with us. We have Harley Davidson on board, and Kimpton Hotels, and JetBlue. So some really great brands that have been recognized for outstanding customer experience. So that's very exciting. And I think the formats that we introduced in 2014, which included a lot of roundtable discussions and workshops, really lend themselves nicely to kind of the idea exchange that happens at the event. So we're just really excited to kind of bring everyone back to San Diego for this year. And also I planned a site tour to the San Diego Zoo, so that'll be a nice way to kind of get everyone outside the conference walls and just doing something that's fun, and also exploring an experience at a world-famous zoo. So I think that'll be a really interesting kind of opportunity for our group.
Very cool. It's really neat when you have a backdrop of a great experience to talk about all the things that you're learning and to kind of see in the real world with your own eyes some of the things you're talking about. I think that's really smart to do. Hey,
Yeah.
those roundtable discussions I helped pioneer with you last year at NextGen and again at Future Stores, and I'll be at Future Store again coming up in June. And what I liked about it so much was that everyone engaged so quickly and so authentically. Everyone that comes to NextGen and Future Stores has stuff on their mind. They're using the events not only to network and pick up new ideas, but they're thinking about their own problems and issues and projects and using the conference as a backdrop to problem solve and ideate. And it's just amazing how quickly everybody jumps in and helps you with your stuff. It's a very selfless way of helping each other out, and I really enjoyed that as a facilitator.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best features of our events are the roundtables. I think the attendees get the most out of them because they are able to kind of share their own struggles and challenges, and just kind of like you said, share, brainstorm and kind of come up with new ideas right on the spot, and kind of walk away with something that they can implement right when they return to the office.
Exactly. Come Monday, they know exactly what to do.
Right. Exactly.
Hey, one of the drivers in the report is that technology is constantly changing, and to me, that creates a real opportunity for companies, but it also creates a real challenge. What it means is they've got to be ever aware of all the nuances and the new changes and their customers' preferences, an entirely new area. Like, retailers aren't always great technologists, but now they have to be. Bankers and lawyers and amusement parks have to be really good at technology now. They need to be facile at it and have vocabulary for it. But it also means, behind the scenes, that they need to be more agile, because technology, like everything else, doesn't stay the same. And my belief, in my practice, we have this idea that the experience always comes first. You don't put a technology in just because you got a good deal on it, or because the sales guy, gave you some magic words. You got to know what it is that you want to do. You've got to understand your customers' desires and intent. You've got to get your journey map right. I think you're going to even have some journey map people there to talk about things. But you've got to put the experience before the tech. So getting close to your customers, really understanding them, visiting them in their homes, shopping, walking along with them, learning about their use of technology, gives you a sense of what's the experience you need to build, and then you attach the technology to the different touch points in that experience.
Definitely, and I think we call that the bright, shiny object syndrome. A lot of companies now, they want the new technology, and they're so excited, and they just rush to kind of put it in place, but they have no strategy behind it, or they haven't really thought about, does this really even make sense for my customer and for my organization? So I think it's all about kind of, okay, let's take it back a notch and really think about why this might make sense for us, and then go from there. And to add to your point about the journey mapping piece, that's always a big area of focus for our group, and it came up a lot in research, and I know companies are in different kind of stages of journey mapping. So we have 2 different workshops this year that look at journey mapping. One applies it with human-centered design, which I think will be really interesting. And the other one is more of a kind of getting started. And I love the title of the workshop. It's about creating a journey map in under 2 hours at no cost. I'm like, that's the best session title ever. So I think that'll be a good one. That's with TD Bank.
Excellent, excellent. Hey, there's an example that I just saw recently by eBay, and eBay has a retail lab that they use to kind of innovate new ideas with their customers. It's for a store that's primarily been online, but is just moving into brick and mortar, called Rebecca Minkoff, and I'll send you the link to that. Maybe you can post it underneath this Google Hangout for folks. But one of the things that I think was so cool about that is how well they integrated a number of different technologies into an on-brand experience for their customers. It wasn't just a collection of bright, shiny objects. It was really a more comfortable way for someone to shop. They extended the experience in the dressing room. They made people feel more empowered and more comfortable. And the technology wasn't overbearing, nor did it ever make the user feel less than human or like stupid, which is a terrible thing to do. And so many technologies leave people feeling a little bit inadequate, and that's just not acceptable. So I'll send that to you, and I think you'll really like that.
Perfect. And just kind of to add to that, I think a big theme for the event this year is kind of how to balance technology with the human element, and to just kind of understand what the customer wants. I mean, you don't always want to be doing self-service and not talking to a human. So it's kind of like, how do you bring in that new technology, but at the same time you're maintaining the human element of your brand and maintaining that relationship. So we're talking about that quite a bit.
Excellent. Well, this is going to be absolutely amazing. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're excited, that's for sure. So we can maybe get into some of these areas a little bit more in our next episode in the new year. So we're going to bring Mike back and some other members of our advisory board to kind of talk a little bit more about some of these trends. But I thank you guys so much for your time today, and thank you, Mike. And we'll be back in the new year.